I'm not sure how much you know about the project, but I'll start from the beginning. So 272 units. This is stage 1. This is stage 2. All right. So every building has access to their own rooftop area. So this building here will get access to that. These guys actually just walk through the door, the little bridge there to get out there, plus there, and these guys will have access to there. And same with these guys over here. We've got these beautiful landscaped areas. Just morning. Hi Nick, how are you?
John, can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha. There you go. Say hi to Nick. Nick Higgins is the architect from Turners. So Turners and Deicorp got a long-term relationship. So we've done Kirrawee together, Westmead together. We're doing Tullawong together, and obviously the Ashford, and eventually down the road at Doran Drive down there. So Nick's the project architect there. So if you've got any specific questions about the project. The big thing we like about this project here is the units are a lot bigger than normal. All right, so the units, we've got lots of 1 bedrooms of 60 odd square meters internal, lots of like almost 3.5 bedrooms, almost 4 bedrooms at 130, 120, 130 square meters internal. So there's lots and lots of big units and lots of variety, and the things I like about this place there. So obviously we're over here on Ashford Avenue, and we're sitting about there, and that's where the car park will be for the project as well. Everybody gets a car park, and then it's one entry, but 2 basement levels as well. There's about 50 odd. There's about 50 odd visitor bays, and then everybody else gets a car park as well. The big thing is the landscaping for this place is really nice. That's the big feature. If you remember, those who sold Meadowbank for us before, that's one of that central courtyard feature, and also these site through links. So you can be here, you can walk across there. Remember also how close the train line is to the building. So it's literally straight up the street and across the road, and you're at Showground Road Station. Now remember that metro comes every 4 minutes. Okay? Now within the next year or so, probably the next 2 years, it'll be into the city. All right, so Nick's the architect. So Nick, we were talking just before about some of the building elements. So would you like to describe, say, the base and then the middle and the top?
In terms of the design was having a solid base, and that base is a brick and it's up to 4-story high. That's having a high amount of detailing. In other words, like you can see on Ashford Avenue and also Partridge Avenue, we've got the scalloping of the balconies. So the curved indentations of the balconies, and we've got vertical columns running along that facade, and that's to help with making a solid base. And then we go into a more open framed top, so it's meant to be a lighter type looking building above, and that's generally set back from the street levels. And then we've got those areas also have screens, and then the 2 different buildings. So we've got the south building, it's the same principle with the brick base as well, but that uses a different colour brick as well, and then it's basically a portal frame with these vertical slot openings into each balcony on the lower levels. But again, what we've done in the upper levels, we've done it as a lighter frame look, where we've got a framed situation and a lot of glass as well. Then basically what happens is that on most of the rooftops, we've got the landscaped areas when we come up to the roof with direct communal access for each apartment on top of their lobbies. So every apartment has access to those communal roof areas in terms of those are located in their buildings, and we don't go between the buildings in those areas.
Tell us about that through link, Nick.
John?
Yeah, you're there. Tell us about the through link.
Oh, the through link? Yeah, sure. So the through link is because currently through the whole area, the suburbs divided into very long blocks, and what we've done in terms of what the council has required is that there's quite a few blocks that they've just asked us to place a through-site link, which is one of our blocks, and that's creating a nice environment for walking between the two buildings. It's a link down to the creek, which is down on the western side, further down a few more blocks. And basically what we've got is through that we've got a walkway that walks from Partridge down to Ashford, meanders through native vegetation and trees, and also there's like seating areas along that area, and also some play areas for kids. There's also each side of the building, which is on the south side and the north side, we've also got what we're calling a forest zone, and that's more vegetation and native trees and bushes to create more of a natural environment, local indigenous species in that area as well.
Good. All right. Now, in the car parking, you want to explain that, how that works? The entrance?
Yeah, sure. Okay, in terms of the side, we've got one car park entry on Ashford Avenue, which is on the western side, and basically that's at ground level. We enter and go down into the building to B1. As you enter, there'll be a loading dock, and people that have residents or visitors will drive through that area and directly into a car park for their parking. There's over 380 car spaces. Of that, there's 55 visitor spaces. The 55 visitor spaces are all located in one area, so that it's easier for visitors to come in, park their car, and then we have directional signage to each lift court to get to someone's apartment in that building as well. The car park is over from 2 basement levels, B1 and B2, and there is some parking on ground level which is tucked under the building because we've got a cascading site. So, you know, the high point is up on Partridge Avenue and the low point is on Ashford Avenue. So we've got some car parking under at ground level, but it's concealed within the sort of topography of the land.
What about the building separations?
John?
The building separations.
In terms of the north, the boundaries, so the north side and the south side, we've got 6 metres at the lowest levels and about 9 metres the setback levels higher. On the street levels, we're between 7.5 and 11 metres, depending on the level. So, and the lower level, we're 7.5 and 11 metres on the upper levels. In terms of the through-site link between the two buildings, we're between minimum of 12 metres, but up to about 15.5 metres between the two buildings in that through-site link. Then in the courtyard, which is in between building A and building B, we've got in the east-west direction, so between the roads, we've got between 26 metres at the narrowest point and 32 metres at a wider point. We've also got in the north-south dimension, we've got about 28 metres. There's also a link between the internal courtyard to the through-site link. This will have a gate obviously for security, but we've also got between that we've got the 2-level masonettes, and we've got about 6 metres gap between the two buildings in that area.
All right, that's good. All right, thank you, Nick. Any other questions for Nick before we go? About the architecture, about who Turners are? Very good architects around Sydney and internationally in London.
So what's the architect called?
Turner Studio.
Definitely, yes.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
See ya. Thanks, mate.
No worries. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, Turner Studios are probably one of the best rated architects in Sydney. Nick works for him, so Nick Turner's the owner, but Nick Higgins is one of the number one architects there. So a couple other things too. We gas cooktop, gas heating point, and gas barbecue point, unlimited use for about $120 a year. Alton, see how Alton.
$120 a year.
Yeah.
Same as Taiwan.
Same Red Hill. It's the same sort of thing.
How long for that promotion?
That's a promotion. That's just
Forever?
It's
That's very good.
Yeah.
Forever
Like,
is a year.
Is hot water also same?
Hot water is separate. Hot water is built directly to your unit, and it's the normal rate.
Okay.
Okay.
Just the
The
gas.
whole idea is that the reason why they can do so cheaply is they can just plug in
Right.
one plug and just services everybody, and they don't have to come and read the bill, and monitor it, right? So that hot water is separate, and that gets individually billed to you. They also look after the hot water system, and make sure for about 10 years, so make sure it just repairs and maintenance and all that sort of stuff. They look after. The electricity, I always say the electricity is marginally cheaper than you could normally buy. The big saving is in the common area. So what happens is that we get a really good rate. So the effect on the body corporate ongoing wise for common area electricity is really good because you're bulk buying for electricity. With electricity, remember you can opt out. So for example, if you don't like Origin or you don't like Agent, you swap.
Oh, possible.
And there's no cost to do that. The only one you can't do is gas, but it's so cheap, why would you? So, the body corporate can all get together and decide to change, but individually you can't. But on electricity, you just ring up and say, don't want to use that. And in the old days, they used to make you replace meters. None of that. Just simply, you ring up, you can just be with one. 30 seconds later, you can be with another provider. Quite interestingly, we've got this at Kirrawee, we've got this at Westmead, we've got this at Rockdale, we've got this at Petersham. I don't know of anybody except one person who actually works for an electricity company that is actually swapped over. So it must be pretty good. So in terms of rates and stuff.
John, when the residents in the future, they will follow the bill from electricity
Yes.
and gas.
Yes.
So water still from water board.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, Sydney Water. Yeah, Sydney Water will get your normal bill from. Yeah, so that's for the cold water.
Yeah.
On your gas bill, you'll have a gas, the 120, and you'll also have the hot water bill as well on your gas bill.
Okay.
Right, and then you'll have a separate Sydney Water bill as well. Okay. Look, we've looked at it, we've analysed it. Like I said, the big thing is the saving on the gas. Pretty much everything else is line ball with what you would normally get. We are looking at, with a couple of providers, because we're trying to put a few buildings together, of offering a further, a Deicorp discount if we can get it. We're just trying to go, but we're probably not going to release that till about June this year. We're just going through and saying if we can put a couple of buildings together, can we buy cheaper electricity for our customers in the future? Doesn't affect that, but if we can pass it on for our customers, that's great as well. The name of the game for these things is to make sure you've got good low body corporate fees, and electricity is one of the big costs, common area electricity. So making sure we've got LED lights in the basement, they're on sensors, you've got a good electricity provider, that's how you keep it all down. The two big costs, and a lot of it, as Walter knows, I sit on pretty much all the strata committees Deicorp have, is insurances. That's always the big budget, and common area electricity.
I think these 1, 2, 3, 4 building under one.
So stage 1 is one strata, stage 2 is the second
all
strata.
these buildings separate.
That's it. So that's it. And they're probably about 3 months behind. So we'll finish this one first. This will be second, about 3, maybe 3-4 months, because we've got to do this through link here as
Has
well.
they mentioned about the car park entry?
Yes.
Or the stage 1
All
and stage 2?
all stage
use
one,
the
stage
same
2.
entry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll build this building, all the car park completely. So it'll be a bit like Westmead. We might have a couple of storage sheds and whatever. But as soon as this comes online, that's why it's going to come online, because you just this little garden area here will be this. Yeah. So it's about 3-4 months behind there.
So when looking at the completion,
Well, the thing is we've started, so DA approved, and we've started construction. Probably these things take about 2 years. Yeah. And the only thing I say, I'm nervous about these days is obviously, obviously with COVID restrictions, we lost a lot of subcontractors, and things like that. But it looks like they're obviously with excavation they can.
I think around the 2024.
Yeah, so 2 years from today.
Around,
Just 2
yeah.
years from today. All right. So there should be. The good thing is it's not a big high rise. It's quite easy to do. It'll come out of the ground pretty quickly. The other two will have those construction updates every quarter coming out. You just go to the YouTube channel to keep up. But it's not a complex project. There's no reason why there'll be a delay. The only thing that will be a delay will be caused by another outbreak of something or other. That we're all facing the same issue as well. The finishes themselves, so they're the same. So one of the things that we liked about what we wanted to do out here was keep proximity, Tallawong, House of Hill, all the same. Makes it easy. We standardised the bathroom. One of the things that in the old days, we had to make our mind up too early about the colour schemes because we had 2 different colour pods. So we just basically did a pod that fits all colours, and basically now we've got one colour scheme, which means we can leave this one closer to the end. So it's only really the panels that swap over. So basically the dark is that middle piece that goes on the end. For this one, everybody gets the pull-out pantries, which is the standard now. We've decided just the pull-out pantries is there. The 3 bedrooms get the integrated fridge.
So for all 3 bedrooms?
All 3 bedrooms, yeah.
Okay.
So that's a standard, right? But everybody gets this as a standard.
Okay.
All right. Now there is a couple of units. There's a bank of units. There's about 7 or 8. They're 1 bedroom, so they have a single bowl sink. Okay. But we've had this query. We can make it a 1.5 bowl sink.
Oh, 1.5.
But what the change is, separate microwave and oven, and because it's sort of built in this side, it's a bit tight. So we just decided to make it a single. If we want a double bowl, what we do is we take the microwave out and we put in a combined microwave oven as well, which is actually better product. It's more expensive, but we're happy to do that. So just keep a note of it. If it becomes a problem,
Convection, right? Convection oven, like
Yeah.
oven and microwave together.
it's combined. It's combined microwave oven convection. I think they're all convection ovens, but it's got a microwave portion.
That's a good idea.
I just want to clarify free.
It's no change. You just told me whether you want
Yeah.
1 bowl
And 1.5 or 1.5.
if it becomes a problem.
If they want 1.5, no extra charge.
No, we can just do all this and they lose.
They lose.
They lose their
Microwave.
Separately, they have to.
But there's only a few. Try and keep it a bit. Some people will go, oh, that's a bit weird for the single bowl. There's only 7, across the. So just have a look at that as well. The usual, look that we try to achieve. The dishwasher, the integrated dishwasher as well, and they're the new bins that we do with the recycle bins. That's like standard across.
This is bigger than the Tallawong and the Ross here. Yeah,
Really?
because that one, it's just this height. It's just a half.
Oh
half.
yeah. Look, what happens over time? We get better and we evolve. Chances are we'll probably end up doing
The
something.
European one is, I think, it's a little bit bigger than
You mentioned
Also, council requirements, just different councils have different size requirements as well. So that's it.
You mentioned for 3 bedroom, is it built-in fridge?
Yes.
Like
Standard?
This is standard.
Yes, standard.
Three bedrooms.
For 3 bedrooms.
The 3 bedrooms are there you go. Just thinking.
So what about this? For 3 bedrooms.
No, that's a feature. But
Okay.
but you know what? You can suggest it to me and
Yeah.
But look, the thing with these pendant lighting,
It looks good.
Yeah, that's really good.
it does,
I like it.
but the problem is that people then want to, I found another pendant lighting, can you swap it over? It just becomes hard.
Yeah.
So some people like it, some people don't.
Okay.
I like it.
I like it.
But it's just one of those things that it's good.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that when you put it in, where do you site it? So for example, is it over here? Is it over here? Is it over, depending on where it sits. It really needs the island bench style as well, but look, that's something that we can get if they're not that expensive. One of the big points of difference is how many projects that we've got on. This is really important. This is where we're seeing a lot of people out this way for example, this street, there's lots of DAs. There's lots of people in this, lots of projects in the area that can possibly come on. Will they come on? It's a bit like Tallawong, right? We've almost sold out of stage 1 now. We're about to put on stage 2. So we've sold, since 1st of July, you know, basically 300 plus units in one project. But there's probably 2,000 units that either are on the market, and probably another 2,000 units that could come on the market in that area. But they're not likely to come on because they can't get funding, they need things like that. So the big points of difference for us is we've started our projects. We have approvals, we own the land, and we've started construction, right? And that's it. Plus, we've got a track record. A lot of the developers out here do not have track records. You know, they might be first-time developer and they try to get a bigger builder to try and do it. We are the builder, we are the developer, we are everything, right? So that's something that is very good, and you know, we encourage you, like you said, bring it to our office, which is your office as well. You know, come and meet us, and we've got a track record. That's the big thing at the moment at This Way, in terms of the marketing pitch, is to tell people that this group has a big track record. And you've sold a lot of units for us as well, which is true. So you can say we've got great after sale service. We sit on committees like I do. We stay with the project for as long as we can. So that's what I'm saying about the parking on that side. I'm just saying, see how the trucks go up and down. So there's probably about 150 trucks a day that will go up and down the street there. So just be more. And when you're telling your customers, tell them to park on that side. One thing I just noticed on the model there's a little circle with an arrow. The arrow's not in the right. We're getting Oscar just to move. It's in a slightly different wrong direction. So don't say that's north, right? The other big thing too is, and this is something that came from the building commissioner, was a lot of people don't know who is ultimately responsible for their project. So you're a customer, right? And you buy off the guy up the road. Typically, they might use a company name called ABC Proprietary Limited, you know, and they use a builder that you won't know. Who is looking after you after you've settled? Who is the person with the 6-year warranty or the 2-year warranty? So who is that? So one of the things is, well, it's all Deicorp. So Deicorp's the builder, Deicorp's the owner. You know, Deicorp is that, and it's our building license. So, as most of you have seen or met Fuad, he's personally responsible for the building after it finishes. And that's actually a really point of difference. And that's something that we're pushing everywhere with our customers across there to use that as a major point of difference. And you know, if you look at Luke here, he's been with us for almost 16 years. He's down at Proximity. So he started as an apprentice and he's worked his way all the way up, is now leading the project down at the Proximity. So we've got a lot of long-term players as well.
Ambassador.
What's that?
Become an ambassador.
Ambassador. Well, he's also a customer as well. So he buys units off us as well. You know? So which is the best. You know. So the other thing too, we talked about the train line before. We're obviously over at Showroom Road, so it's. You can easily get down to Castle Hill. Remember Castle Hill's, you know, the massive shopping centre down there. You know, it's easy to jump on there. What I was saying before was, even if you go out this way where Rouse Hill and Tallawong are, it's really, really easy to get there, you know, back and forth. So, you know, leave your car here, jump on the train, you can get to Tallawong. You know, if you instead of driving all the way and fighting, because it's actually probably sometimes it's up to half an hour to get to Tallawong, but it's probably 4 or 5 minutes you get on the truck. It's very, very quick, you know, so about 10 minutes in train. Eventually this will go all the way to the city when it comes there as well. The area is a nice, you know, pleasant area, good families out here, lots of schools in the area as you probably know. And the building's going to look very, very nice as well. And nicely spaced out, and we're going to get you a plan to show you the building separations, to show you that there's proportions between, because one of the things where people go from housing out here, like into apartments, they go, oh, am I going to be too close to my neighbour? And they're the things that we're trying to show that it's not actually not, we thought about that. So that's very important. We picked that up on a lot of projects where people, you know, go down to Kirui, for example, people can't believe the distance between the buildings. Then they go, wow, it didn't actually show up on the marketing drawing or the plan when we first did it. And they go, it's not until you get there. So now we're actually putting distances and trying to show distances and things like that. So, like I said, the buildings are, it's going to look really nice on the outside. Some of the lobbies, so we're going to, you know, like we've upgraded our lobbies as well. I don't have a lobby shot here, but they're basically in the garden areas as well. The lobbies are going to look very, very nice as well. And I'm just trying to see if there's a lobby shot because we're just designing those. We're probably going to do that in the second stage release of our brochures, because what we want to try to do is always exceed everybody's expectation, but I don't want to do it where we put a lobby photo out and then we don't deliver that. You know, so one of the things is we're getting better at our lobbies. The lobbies at, you know, Westmead are a lot better than they were, you know, say Kirrawee, you know, in terms of the look of it as well. So this one here we want to step up as well. Rassel will be really nice as well. So we want to make sure that we do that. All the plans there, floor plates, plans, grab them, the Deicorp collection. One of the things we've noticed with this book, this Deicorp collection, and we do actually, we'll probably update it this year, is a couple of things. Is the amount of projects we've done, right? But also the fact, and in particular, you know, customers. So there's a good story. So these two ladies here bought 1 bedroom units side by side each other at Kirrawee. Their mum and dad bought the one above the 3 bedroom unit, right? So, you know, they are, so the whole family bought in Kirrawee. You know, then you got Bob and Barbara who bought in building D at Kirrawee. And one of the reasons why we like to show that we actually have customers is that there are plenty of people, we've got testimonial videos that you should have access to that on YouTube. Show your people that we actually have, you know, lots of customers, lots of happy customers as well. Because one of the things is that, and one of the things out here, apartment living is only new. And, you know, it hasn't been tried enough out here. And the only ones they've heard of is down at Castle Hill with Top Place, you know, and the issues, you know, for but yeah, same with Keith. Keith is another South Village, or we call him the mayor of South Village. He's very, very hands-on. He does helps all the gardening. So we do nice buildings. We can do ones of this size. They do look good as well. You know, the finishes, and the reliability. So this is actually a book that's been very, very popular with everybody. Probably more so than the brochure, because realistically they go, well, okay, you know, I can see the unit here. The outside's the outside. What's your track record? And that's something you can utilise as a tool as well. Spark Home all the work. So you've used them on Lockup, and also on Downtown. So electronic or paper. So if you need papers in the office, let us know. We'll get some through. If you need, you know, training on the electronic, they're all pretty good, all pretty efficient as well. All right. What else? Look, these are actually something we've been toying with, whether they're useful or not. The issue at the moment is that they're not as reliable as what I'd like them to be. So at the moment, these are down at the moment. Was working yesterday, but not today. One of the issues is that the internet here is too slow. It's not coping with that at the moment. So once we get, so what we did at, say, proximity or Tullamore, we've got a dish on, like a satellite dish on the roof, and that should speed up the internet. And then these things will all work. So question for you, do you actually utilise these, or do you just prefer the model? Because we're really thinking, well, do we just, you know, not use these? Because it's spots up, we might better get another table in here or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. If, you know, but for some people in overseas or couldn't come here, right?
Yeah.
And if we can have the model, we can upload onto, let's say, team link or our website, and then they can access. Rather than click on
that might be better to do it that way. Yeah, rather than, and that might be good for us. So, you know, that's the other thing too is to me, these were secondary to the model. If, for example, it was really busy, and you might have 4 or 5 groups around the model, this was a backstop. That's all it was useful. But they're not as reliable as what I'd like them to be. On Talon was about the mirrors.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, okay. So we just
when we
actually.
use-
So what do you? What at the moment in the company we say sliding, right? But what's your feedback from your customers? Do they? What are
If
they?
they have options, or if some people like her, some people don't.
Look, the problem is with options is that it's hard to document.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
make a mistake across 270, or across 1,000 instead of here, we'd like to either have one or the other. But what happened was we started with the opaque at Talon, and everybody says, "Oh, we'd rather mirror it." So we swapped over to
We
mirror.
have quite a lot of the client they quite like to mirror more.
Yeah, actually, you know where we had it from was particularly there's the
Some of them
Korean,
want to
the
upgrade
Korean
to
market.
mirror.
They didn't like.
They don't.
Remember, it was a punch bowl. They didn't like the mirrors because we always used to do mirrors.
Yeah.
And but
Not different mirrors. I don't know, different look.
Yeah. For myself, I prefer
Different
mirror,
market.
but most of the Chinese buyers they don't like it.
yeah, that's it's one of those ones that say we like your feedback on that,
Yeah.
and then you know
Most
that's
of my internal feedback, they kind of like the mirror. Mirror, yeah.
yeah. Okay. That's, well, look, actually, why don't you go discuss it as a team,
Yeah.
and then because we're going to ask the same CVs and ask them to say what do we think, you know, people will like.
I like the downtown, the middle mirror and the two other.
Yeah, well, that's for the three. Well, that's for because that only works if you've got a 3-panel door. So it doesn't work if it's only a 2-panel one. So that's for the 3-bed. So that's that was a nice one as well.
That's
So
upgraded one.
No,
It's
upgraded.
different.
Yeah.
I've got one question with the inverter plan. And
Sorry,
the inverter, you know, they were saying about the electricity.
Oh, yeah.
But is the internet also saying?
Oh, okay, no. So the internet we'll have a we'll probably use
Fiber?
it's called Unity Group. So they're an Australian listed company worth about $3 billion on the stock exchange. They provide us with really, really high internet. So most speeds, and we just tried it at Westmead and it's working a treat. So stage 1 had up to 1 gigabyte a second. Stage 2, which is the last hour stage, the last hour, has up to 10 gigabytes a second. Now there's no provider yet that can give us that, there's no RSP, so there's no, Dodo or anything can actually get to that speed yet, but in 5 years' time, it probably can. So we're just trying to provision for that. So we'll probably do the minimum up to 1 gigabyte a second here, right? So it's faster than it's faster than NBN, but we do that because we like to be. So for example, Westmead, there are about in the first 2 buildings that were set up, there are 80 people using the 250 megabyte a second plan because they do a lot of gaming. There's a lot of gamers in there, so they need really steady, consistently high speed internet, right? To play the games, right? And it's a big market. There's Olympics of gaming, right? So so the other thing too is working from home now and with streaming with Zoom calls and with Teams, to actually have an apartment with really high speed, good connections. So we just saw Nick Higgins, the architect, for him to send around plans, for him to send around, do Zoom calls every day. If he didn't have good internet at home, it'd be a disaster for him. So one of the things is by having really good technology, really good internet within the building, then it's going to make it's recession proofing. So the internet speed from a typical house, as opposed to here, we'll have a lot better internet here than they'll have there. Right, so that's one of the things. So you're right, internet is a big thing. And
also
speed.
it's only the one company is providing all the way.
No. So they just do the backbone. You've got 50 providers.
Okay.
What we did at Westmead, and I haven't seen the take-up rate yet, they provided for free the Nokia routers. You can either use it or you don't. You can either chuck it out or you can ring them up, because they're also a retail service provider. So they offered a slightly better deal than you would normally get, and you can just go on their plan. But you've got, you can go to there's a couple of groups that tap into some Asian TV channels as well. They can stream that in there as well. So lots of different providers. So there's plenty of choice. So all it is the backbone. once you get the backbone, connected properly, it's all fibre optics, and it's much easier than anybody can. So we're just trying to recession-proof ourselves. The other question that people are raising, and Walton's got the old Tesla there, is EV charging stations. So we're actually looking at, we will have them here. We haven't worked out how many. But one of the things is that, the reason why we're struggling with it a little bit is how do we actually allocate where they go. For example, if I've got a Tesla and we put the charging station in the visitor bay, does that entitle me to tie up that visitor bay, effectively permanently, because it's the only place? So these are some practical things. So what you're going to have is a situation where I buy a normal car and I buy an electric car, and I can always use the visitor bay. But then what happens to the other customer who doesn't have one and he wants to use the visitor bay? So these are some of the practical things we're trying to work through at the moment. The other thing too is down at Tallawong, there's about 150 across all of it. Some will go into retail, some will go into residential. The issue is, once again, is the speed of the charging. So what happens is that, and it's a bit confusing. You're meant to do electric cars to help with saving the planet, but obviously most electricity at the moment is coal-fired power. Therefore, is that contributing more or less? So, or the loads themselves. Do you put in 150 basic ones, or do you put in 30 super fast ones? What would you prefer? You've got a car. What would you prefer? A super fast one?
The super fast are very hard. Only Tesla can do so.
Yeah.
Normally we get the family package. But enough 3-4 hours can get a fully charged.
Yeah. So that's, and the other thing too is the way load sharing works at the moment. It's a bit like your phone. You don't always run your phone down. You always top up. So most of the time, your car will only ever be half uncharged, half charged. So you've got to top up pretty quickly, or get enough to go to the next spot, to go to the next spot, to go to the next spot. So we were looking at that at the moment. We will have them here. We will have them at Ashford. We will have them up a lot of Tallawong, but we will have them as well. We just don't know how many at this stage. That's a design thing at the moment as well.
The other question, is there any chance about this Ashford Avenue to become two-way to get out? Because now it's
so at the moment I'd say no,
Okay.
but eventually I think it's going to have to be, because there's going to be a whole bunch of units there. So you're right. So one of the things is at the moment you can only come from that way, turn left in, and then you've got to go all the way that way to go around.
I have a question.
Yep.
We saw the fog plates this morning.
Yep.
So we wondering.
That's stage 2.
Yes, because they're also in the same fog plate in the digital one. So that's why maybe a bit confusing with the agent. Or we can still sell this as well.
No,
So when do we
you
get
only sell
this?
this one. When you sell this
So
one,
you
you go on to
combine
that
two.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So when do we get that the site plan?
The site plan.
Yes, which means just to show the different building is how wide.
Oh yeah. Nick will do it on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get him to draw it up. So we just spoke about it this morning. I was showing you because we're doing it. Just the distances there, the distances to there.
Yeah.
The distances, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we tossed around this idea, do we actually leave that off the plan? But at the end of the day, it looks a little bit misleading to the customer if you don't try and understand where your building is situated. So we decided to put it on. It's one of those things. But yes, sell that one first and then we'll move on to that one. And the reason why, that's stage 1 and that's stage 2.
Sorry, I have a couple more
You're right.
questions. Keep asking. Actually, the study room, the table that
Yes.
including, or?
So no. So that table there is not included. It's just that it looks like that's what you can do.
Okay, so
Alright.
upgrade.
It's or just what you can do. What's happening is a lot of the ones that we've done before, and people have put their own things
Okay,
around.
right.
So
So
we're
just the
deciding-
area.
Just the area. It's meant to be in the area.
But if the buyer they want to upgrade to exactly look like that, so how much they
Well, only if it's available on there.
So yeah, for example, like
Some of-
this, they gotta see
Like this one, they also
Yes, you'd see. Yeah, look, that one's probably more misleading because it looks like it's attached, right? Where this is like freestanding loose furniture. But look, we can do it, and I can get like a quote for it.
Okay.
The reason why people go you know, do you want 1 level, do you want 3 levels, do you want, and then and the problem is that becomes the sale. And what we find is that I call it the fiddle theory. The more you fiddle with something, the less likely it is to happen, right? And the problem is that we're seeing when people are focused in on that, they're forgetting what the real issue is, which is to buy the unit, right? And that in a sales process, it does bog down. Like every time somebody's asked for a couple of variations or a quote, and they say, "Oh, what's it going to look like? It's going to be 1 level, it's 3." Downtown was the same, right? So we had a lot of sales not proceed because they're all focused on what the study was going to look like. And then they say, "Oh, you know what? I'll just go like here, or you know, or I'll just go to, you know, I'll go to whatever." And then they just got over it, or something happened on the TV, and you know, there was another COVID outbreak, and they just wouldn't buy. You know, so in my view, from a selling process point of view, and you guys, you know, is don't confuse people. Just say it's a great unit. You know, you're getting a great price. Personalise it after you see it. Personalise it after you know, after you move in. Personalise it once you buy, you know, the furniture, because you might find is that, you know, it might not be big enough for your own computer or whatever. I bought this. That's what I do.
Yeah, okay.
But this, you know.
Sorry, about the air condition.
Yes. So like I said, it's concealed in the bulkhead, right? So it's in the 1 bedroom. So it's in the main bedroom for all the units. The 3 bedrooms get all the bedrooms. Yeah.
Tower 1 is the 3 bedrooms, only 2 rooms.
No, 3 in total. Yeah, all 3.
All 3 on as well. Okay.
Yeah, but it's only the reason why we do that is there's a environmental policy called BASICs, which is basic energy efficiency as well. And the worst thing you can do is put more air conditioning. It's not as if we're being cheap, right? But you got to apply. Otherwise, you don't get the good, you know, environmental citizen. So 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, you know, like that. So the 3 bedrooms get it all. The 1 and 2s get in the main.
But they still can upgrade, right?
What's the extra cost for the second room?
Look, part of it is, okay, the reason why I hate to give a number out is because it depends where the unit is and where their balcony is. Right? So for example, so here, so there's the air conditioning plant there, and this is the 3, this is a bad example, but say for example this is the 2 bedroom only. The plant's there, that's easy to do, right? But if you have to run it all the way down there, so we do look at it on a case by case. So I don't want to give you a figure, then find out, you know, that's it, because what you'd have to do here, you'd actually have to upgrade that to make it twice the size, then run, you know, it down there. There'll be some sort of bulkhead, and the other reason why, because we did look at ducted air, is there's too many bulkheads, and it ruins, like, say your unit is a lot lower because you've got to put the bulkhead in. So ducted air conditioning normally is actually there's very little difference. The thing is the look of the unit. So we like having, and these days with ADG or Australian design guidelines, you've got to make sure you've got plenty of ceiling. You don't want these big bulkheads everywhere, bulkheads in your bedrooms, bulkheads in your, you know, the series of those things everywhere. It's just going to look like mixing and matching as well. So the reason why I can't give you a straight price, depending what unit it is, where it is, and do we think we can just double it there, or you might have a balcony at the front, a balcony at the back. You might be able to put one on the other balcony.
Is there a wrong street zone?
That's right.
One small thing.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Unit in the balcony, it will be in a case. Or?
Now, okay. So what the rules are? If it's within 1 metre of seeing it from the road, it has to be, and if it's not, it won't be. Right. So most of these ones sit back a bit, so they probably won't be covered. The other thing too, and I'll correct myself by saying different councils have different requirements. Therefore, I will check here. So Tallawong is Blacktown Council. This is Hillshire Council. I just can't remember. You know,
also Hillshire.
Bradley Hillshire Council. But that was actually granted under a different policy as well, because it's like Door and Drive, for example, which is down here at Castle Hill. That's state government. That's the East Melbourne Council. So there's another, you know, legislation for that as well. So they're all slightly different. I'll 100% confirm.
Because there's sometimes the safety issue as well with the children.
I haven't heard that for the ones that we put in. They're all you know, should be kiddie proof. I haven't heard that one before. Yeah, I haven't heard that one before. I mean, we have to comply with regular. Unusual that the kids would stick their fingers into air conditioning.
And the fan, like at the front.
Well, the fan's usually sort of at the back there in the way there. So, but I'll find out for sure. Like if somebody's got kids and they need to screen, we'll screen for them. You know, so.
Just lock your kids in.
Yeah, that's it. Control your children, please.
Did you ask about the air conditioning issue?
Yeah, everything we.
So I'm going to confirm whether they're all screened or which ones are screened or not.
Okay.
As well. All right. Well, now the other big thing too, I know it is really, really close to the train station. It's an easy walk down there, right? So I do it. So straight down the street, right? It is. Now I know everybody drives out here, but it is something you should have a look at.
Yeah, sure.
It is a really high quality piece of infrastructure. And one of the things that when we choose train lines, or closer train lines, and most of our projects are near closer train, it's exactly that. And the government spent a buckload of money to do that. You got, you don't realise how close it is. And from this spot here, it's actually the closest. Initially, we were going to do the display on that side, right? But then you've got to walk up and around. Where here's just literally straight down there. Hence the reason why the through link. So if you live over the other side, so if you live on the Partridge side, you have to go up and around to get back there. But if you live here, you're straight through the through link and straight. So that's a lot closer. That's why we put it in. So it is a good.
So this one is this shape.
That's it. Ashford.
Yeah. Like this, turn it around.
That's it.
So if you go that way, you have to go
Up and around.
Yeah. Because
Right.
they have all the different mentoring in between, like all the different buildings.
We're near to the car.
Cars in.
I love the idea of the old trees here.
Yeah, and also here as well. So there's a garden strip there, and a big strip here, and obviously here as well. So that's the big thing. So like I said, Meadowbank, whatever, it's that central courtyard.
Enjoying, relaxing, and sitting.
How big is it? There's 3,000 square meters for the garden.
It would be at least that. Well, I'll get to the area, with including this area here, but I'll get to that area as well. Right. As a illustration.
This building has the trees both sides.
Yeah, both sides, because you've got to strip down this way as well.
You can double check with the model there. Yeah, they're showing.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.